That's a good question. Yeah, just so you know, we don't require a college degree to work at Turning Point USA. But that's a good question. A lot of people that work for us are actually graduates of college. Just so you guys know, I'm not like the biggest fan of college, if you haven't noticed that. I wrote a little book called The College Scam, except University of Wyoming, Karen. I love this place. It's great. My main contention is this. Know why you are here. Don't go to college to discover yourself. Don't go to college to find yourself. Bad idea. Definitely don't borrow a bunch of money to go study things that don't matter, to go find jobs that don't exist. And so, equally, and I think the Wyoming hard work culture will appreciate this, we need actually more people that are entrepreneurs, more people that work with their hands, we need more electricians, we need more plumbers, we need more carpenters. We need, as a culture, to stop looking down on people that don't have a 4-year degree. We need to say, just because you don't have a piece of paper doesn't mean you're not allowed in the Cool Kids Club. In fact, one thing that I am pushing President Trump on, and I think he signed an executive order on this, it's that it shouldn't be a requirement to go to college if you work in the federal government. And let me be also clear, it's not that all colleges are bad, it's just that oftentimes many colleges are a waste of your time and a waste of your treasure. Those are 4 of your most valuable years of life, and if you're spending them, you're getting a lot out of it, great. But I go to college campuses, so you guys don't have to, okay? I go to the most liberal places on the planet, and so many kids leave with regret, less energy, more debt, more confusion about the world, and I look at these amazing 18-year-olds, I say, boy, I wish that they would be given an environment where they're supercharged for 4 years, not weighed down and demoralized after 4 years. God bless you, man. I hope you'll work for Turning Point USA.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Remington Coltis, and I had the pleasure of spending the day with your wonderful Turning Point USA chapter.
Your name's Remington. That's the most Wyoming name I've ever heard. Thank you for your service. And by the way, we have a family from the Abbey Gate. I think they're here somewhere. God bless you guys. Terrible situation. Lost their life. Their loved one lost their life at Abbey Gate in Kabul, Afghanistan. Never should have happened under Joe Biden. So thank you for being here, guys. God bless you.
The reason I came here today is because I wrote a book for my very young infant son that I intend to give to him when he is a teenager. I was raised without a father, and many of us were. And in this book, I detail a lot of the things that a child should know, should learn from his father. And I've left a copy of that with your wonderful Turning Point USA chapter. I was hoping you would do me the honor of reading it before I finalize it.
Thank you. I will. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And I'll just say one thing. The fact you were raised without a father, you now have a unique opportunity to give the blessing that you never had, which I think will heal a lot of maybe of the regret or sorrow or frustration that you might have been raised with. And that's my advice to young men all the time that were raised without fathers, that don't walk around being bitter. Look and aim yourself to be the father that you wish you would have had. And that is the most beautiful way to kind of complete the circle and make the world a profoundly better place. So, God bless you, man. Thank you so much.
Hi, Charlie. My name is Steve. I had a question about the Trump administration. Why are they refusing to facilitate the return of Kilmer and Garcia?
Okay. So, a couple things. I don't want to put you on the spot, but like how much research have you done into this topic? Fair amount? Okay. So is he a U.S. citizen?
No, but he had a judge-imposed order specifically preventing him from being deported that the Trump administration violates.
So you are half right. Deported to just El Salvador. The judge
is where he wants to work to.
Right, but the judge says he could be swooped up to any place at any time. Now it gets a little bit more complicated because they invoked the Alien Enemies Act. And so, will you acknowledge that he was part of MS-13?
No. The only source that was saying he was a part of MS-13 was a copy in 2019.
So what are the tattoos on his knuckles?
The tattoos on his knuckles, it was a marijuana leaf.
And? Skeleton? S?
No, the skeleton was the fourth one.
Second?
Nope. It was the crossing was, I've seen the tattoos.
active, okay. But it literally was like people that are in that world that know game iconography, so that is MS-13 tattoos. Also, is
Just
it?
because he has that, why should he be denied due process?
Okay, yeah, but he had due process for about 5 years, right? So the judge says you can be scooped up at any time, any place. Alien Enemies Act actually says you do not get due process when you're an invader on an enemy land. MS-13 was called an invading force. Also, isn't he from El Salvador?
Yes.
So he's back in his home country.
Which is where he was specifically legally protected from being deported to.
What was the excuse he gave not to go back to El Salvador?
Gang violence.
No, he said another gang was going to come after him.
Yeah.
So he was part of the
He didn't use the words another.
He said another gang. Did he or did he not wear Chicago Bulls paraphernalia?
He did, and I don't think we can say that wearing Chicago Bulls paraphernalia.
In Maryland?
He didn't have a gang.
Okay, so just so you guys know.
So if you're a fan of Michael Jordan,
Well, actually, I'm a huge Michael Jordan fan, but just so you know, I'm a massive Michael Jordan fan, but just so you know, and I hope you understand this, that Chicago Bulls were the assigned team of MS-13 in the Baltimore metro area. And so we have witnesses saying that he was part of MS-13. We have the tattoos, right? We have the fact that he's from El Salvador, another gang is going to come after him. And I just want to make sure I understand. Why do you care so much about trying to return a non-American, who was obviously a wife beater and a bad guy, back to a country which was not his own?
because I care that everyone under the United States is afforded the rights under the Constitution, and if we bypass that for him, what's stopping us from bypassing that for literally anybody else who just accused him of being an
It's
idiot?
not an American. Okay, so you're wrong for this up. Marijuana, Smiley, wine.
Skull was the second.
Right, okay, so skull is last, represents 3, but smile means S, right? So that's NS13. You see how that works?
How is a skull representing 3? That's a bit
Okay, again, that's
You never explained how skull represents 3.
again, I'm not over expert on NS13, but let me ask you this: now that we're going deep into it, if it wasn't a gang tattoo, why did his girlfriend edit it out of all the photos that she was posting on social media? If there was nothing to hide, why did his girlfriend not want the world to see it?
My point is, it's a
Well, answer my question.
It's a gang tattoo.
Oh, that's actually
We
incredible.
shouldn't be deporting people just randomly without providing them a trial or any kind of due process.
If
If it wasn't
he had a trial, that's the thing.
If it wasn't for them to have Michael the Supreme Court 9-0 that we ought to return facilitate so and make sure that
No one is debating the fact that he should not have been sent back to that specific country. But once he's in El Salvador, that's out of our hands. But what we are debating is whether or not this guy had a right to stay in America. He's an illegal alien, and every illegal alien here in America should be returned back to their country of origin. Period. So according to the Supreme Court, there are 3 ways to return somebody in America. Do you know the 3 ways? No. Okay. So their Alien Enemies Act, which requires no due process. That's what they use. There's also called expedited release, which means you've been here within 14 days or 100 miles of the southern border. Did not apply to him. And then anybody else that's here, due process. So under Biden, he had multiple court dates, due process, where he was able to make his case. A judge looked at him and he said, Mr. Garcia, I have to warn you, you might be scooped up at any time. We are not protecting you. There's an active deportation notice on your head, Mr. Garcia. Do you understand? And he said, I understand, I'm going to stay. Therefore, Garcia stayed. The only part of your argument is correct. What the judge did say is, we can't send you back to El Salvador. Hilariously, if we would have sent him to the Congo, which actually wasn't his own home country, or sent him to Canada, we would have been perfectly fine. So now he's in the hands of an El Salvadorian government. We admit that it was an administrative error, but what we will not admit is that it was not a moral error. There's nothing morally wrong with scooping up someone that's been warned for deportation, that broke into our country, that already had due process, and we did it so legally. There's nothing at all wrong with doing that. In fact, we should do that with millions of other people that are in this country now.
Why did the Supreme Court rule 9-0 to facilitate his return?
Again, so they can't facilitate it because he's in a foreign country. He wants to invade El Salvador. And then secondly, here's the next question. They ruled that he shouldn't have been sent to that specific country, of which I granted that to you. Final point. If somebody is here, not from America, send them back to their home country. Period. End of story. Now, thank you very much.
Hello, Mr. Burke. I'm here to ask you about, I'm assuming you are a big fan of RFK Jr. And just a few days ago, he made a speech about autism. And in that, he made some very specific things, claiming that autism has increased, which is true. Rates of diagnosis have increased. But he's also stated that autistic people are unable to pay taxes, unable to take care of themselves, and are a net drain to society.
He said some autistic people, which of course is true.
He emphasized most of them.
Okay.
Yes, he did.
No, that's not even close to
Yes,
that's not true. Okay?
I saw the video, so we did too, so that's what he stated.
It's called a spectrum for a reason, right? There's people
I'm on the spectrum.
Okay, so congratulations. I mean,
Give us information because I should know more about this than you. That's my credentials compared to you. So I should know more about this than you.
okay, but again, Bobby Kennedy spent his entire life trying to get to the root cause of autism. I think you should agree we should try to find that out, right?
We already know it's a genetic issue. It just so happens to show up in people.
So if that's the case, why is it that autism was 1 in 30,000 in the 1970s and now it's 1 in 27?
That's simple. We had COVID, the lockdown, which Let me speak. During COVID, people isolated, they didn't socialize, and they developed similar traits such as being unable to maintain eye contact, and fidgeting, which are generally associated with autism. Now, that is part of the reason why we have high rates of high function autism and rates of low function autism as they get to this diagnosis.
Respectfully, why did the rate go up so much from 1990 to 2020? No COVID.
Because people were being diagnosed, we had more exposure to
The
it.
test is exactly the same. The test does not
We're
change.
testing more people.
Okay, well,
If
first of
it's
all,
become normalized in society, more people are being tested for it,
This has
then
been-
more people are going to be diagnosed.
this has been widespread.